Okay, I'd like to demonstrate something a little unorthodox today about the use of reverb. So we're going to solo out a drum track here and have a listen. I want you to pay attention to what you hear different on the drum kit between bars 13 and 17, and then through 17 you're going to hear a transition. So let's run that and see what we get here. Right, so trying to create some sort of an effect. So let's hear that in the track here, and you can hear how it livens things up. The track gets a little busier, some more instruments come in at that point, so you can hear how it kind of changes the feel of the drum kit, gives it a little bit more power and punch. Okay, hear that? Hear that sort of that sort of tone, kind of in around the 500 hertz area. So what I did to get this little trick is I fed one of the room mics. I didn't want to change the room mic and do all of the work that it would take to, for example, just totally automate the EQ for the room. I wanted to keep that room sound. So what I did was, instead of automating the room, I fired that particular room sound pre-fader to a hall reverb over here. And what I did with the hall reverb was I took a reverb, kind of cut it down. This is Reverence, part of Cubase. I cut down the length of the reverb. You can see the tail's fairly short here. And then I compressed it, hit it with the compressor, so you can watch here and see the compressor work. We don't really need to see the reverb work because there's nothing to see, but you can see the gain reduction on the compressor here when it kicks in. We'll shorten that down and run it again here. So you can see the compressor working out. We'll shut that off and show you the difference. That's out, in. You can hear it. You can hear it pulling up the volume as it compresses it. Just a cheap stock compressor from Cubase. Nothing fancy. I'm using basically all stock stuff here. I put a de-esser on the front end of it, pulling out a little bit of the high end on the input from the room. It's subtle. You could probably live without it. Just a basic hall reverb. Compress the signal. And I'll also put a flanger on there. Now, I'll take the flanger out, you can listen to the difference. Ready? Hear how the flanger changes the tone? And what I did there was I just took the flanger and just kept working the delay in the mix until I got a tonality that I like. It's very subtle, but it does make a difference. And if you take out the EQ, you hear how much more exaggerated it gets. So I've pulled out a lot of 200 in there, put back in a little bit around 500, 525, and actually closer to 600. And there's a lot of tweaking and messing around to get that effect, but I sort of like that feeling in the mix. So let's hear it in the track here as it changes. We'll run from 13 through, and we'll do it full track. Alright, so you get the idea. Let's hear it in the full track with the music, vocals and everything here, and see what it sounds like. We'll move ahead here. Where does it come back in? Right here. So you can see it sort of adds a different tonality, a little bit more excitement, creates a little bit a longer decay on the snare, and makes it stand out in the mix a little bit different. Just, you know, an unusual way to use snare reverb without going to actually EQing the snare. I didn't do anything different to the snare, anything different to the room. I just fed that into a completely different sound that sort of overpowered and sat on top of the room mics for the drums. So something you can try there to shape snare sound. Most of the snare sound actually I find comes from the room anyway, so it's just a different approach. Try it, see what you can come up with. Thanks for listening.